Hey everyone, hey family, hey friends, hey our dear viewers, our beautiful audience. We are back. Your host is Namara Hope. We are back with the program Thrice I Fell and Stroke the Voice of Hope. We are the ambassadors of hope. We are the people who have come out to talk about hope. We're the voice. And yes, with me, without wasting so much time, let us welcome the very voice behind Thrice I Fell, Stroke the Voice of Hope, Madame Phionah. Madame Phionah, you're welcome, and it's good to have you back today. How are you doing?
I am doing well, Namara. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So yes, we are back here and we are following this story. Last time, I think we shared up to where you're called a Joseph, but we didn't address the audience and tell them the whole story why you were called a Joseph. In your book, you're called Joseph. And there is almost something that confuses somebody. A woman called Phionah Barungi Chichoncho, as we heard from our previous seat or set here as we sat. But then you have a name called Joseph. How does Joseph come about? How do you come to be called a Joseph in your family? Or why did your parents exactly choose the name Joseph?
Yeah, I'll take you back a little bit, I think. Joseph is a name that was given by one of my parents.
Yes.
Of course, who is the father. And I did not know why he was calling me Joseph, but I later on came to understand after he explained to me why. But to me, I did not actually find out why I was called Joseph. In good, I think, faith.
Faith, yes.
Yeah, I was a little disturbed and I had
hesitant a bit.
Exactly. I was like, why? Because
exactly.
They told me what the name Joseph meant after I had actually put them on gunpoint. I am tired. Why me? Why me all the time?
Pressurizing them.
Why me all the time? Why me everything? Because I would look at myself as I would sometimes think it's a burden because I was doing everything. And yes, it was my responsibility as a child because when you start making money, you need to come in and step in for the parents.
Yes.
But I was wondering why me, yet I had siblings who were, working. They were
older?
Not that bad, yeah,
because
and older,
you don't
of course.
see, you know the first in your family.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I was wondering why I was, everything, me, and one time I left my job and came back home. I think it was actually like the second or third reason why I came back home because I needed to understand. I was somehow tired. I first enjoyed it, but later on I was like, because when you come in and you want to do ABC, sometimes people would see you have the passion to do
almost
everything.
taking you for granted.
It's okay, so she can do everything. So later I found it so much on me and I was like, no, I think I need to complain. Because if they were not well, I would say it's okay, it is me alone, But I look at them and they were not badly off, so would at least come together as a team. But it was always me. So I went home and I wasn't even patient, to ask such a question in the mornings. I asked some bits of questions, and my father wasn't happy. The father would say, "Why is she asking in the first place? It is her responsibility." Kind of. That's what I read.
A responsibility in disguise, though, because you didn't understand it.
Exactly.
How would you relate with something you hardly understand?
Yeah. So I need to understand, and at least I needed to understand and then be comfortable with what I was doing. I didn't want to always do things whereby I have this kind of not thinking why me. I wanted to be at ease.
Yes.
So in the night she said, don't worry, we shall talk about that in the morning. But of course with not good faith as well. And I was like, okay, whatever. Because I needed to understand. They had to tell me. So in the morning, of course, we do some things here. And later I told my mother, you know what, I think I need to, I'm soon leaving. I'm soon going back. And I need to know.
Why you called the Joseph?
Exactly.
Yes.
So my mother again said, go and ask your father. That name, not me. But at least I know your father has an answer for that. So my father was in bed. And he's this kind of guy who is So he has his principles in a way. He's hard. He's not a guy that you can easily approach, and you
Laid
start.
back.
Yeah, exactly. So you look at him, and when he gives you an eye, you sit in your position and say, okay, fine.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. When you are even asking and he looks at you and you're okay, it's okay. When it's not okay, you
Exactly.
you eventually say it's okay when it isn't. So I was like, do you think it will work? She said, yeah. Then I asked her to be on my side, at least to be close, so that when the fire is,
She can jump in for a
Exactly.
rescue, as
She
being
said,
a rescuer in a
yeah,
way.
she said, no, don't worry. Go and ask him. That man loves you. I don't think he can do anything. At least I know he loves you. I said, okay. So I went, I greeted him. I said, Daddy, I think if you don't mind, please, can we start from where we stopped last night? He said, oh, yes, okay, fine, let me come. Let me find you in the sitting room. So I sat, he came, and I started my question again. Daddy, why am I called Joseph? Is it because I have to do each and everything? Is it because I have, all the burdens have to be on me? Is it fair? And he was like, no, don't worry. Call your mother to come with the Bible, because she reads the Bible, I know that. She will explain to you better.
Yes.
So I called Mommy and she's like, oh, well, I'm here with it. So she comes, she sits down, and she starts a story of Joseph from the start to the end. And then I'm like, so how does that really
Relate with you.
with my, with me? I am a girl, first of all. I
Yes.
am not a man. And why? What does it mean anyway? Because yes, I would actually pay attention and listen, but I didn't want, because of what I had in my heart. I was like, no, I am tired. So I did not give it attention, that much attention that I. And my father said, really? You did not understand? I said, no. Because why? Why would I be Joseph?
But even then, I don't think you understood the Joseph in the Bible as well. Had you read that story before?
I had not. I mean, the
Exactly.
Bible wasn't my friend at that
That's
time.
it. That's it. That's it.
And I had never read any Bible in the story. The only thing that my mother had told me, you have to pay the tithe.
Yeah.
Because who are you? You are not the one that does this. This is God. So
Exactly.
you have to take back God's portion. This is not your money. You're cheating. So he had, I think, read me a story of tithe and stuff. It's the only story that I had in the Bible, and I respected it. So I started working, in the line
Towards
of faith.
that, yes.
Yeah. So there is no any other story I knew in the Bible, but when they read it, still it wasn't
It
that
didn't make
meaning.
sense.
Yeah, did not have any meaning. I mean, that's not what I was expecting to hear. So I'm like, I didn't understand. My father is like, are you okay? I said, I'm okay, Daddy, because really, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't relate with my concern. And he said, And then my mother kept quiet, because she's this lady who would sometimes keep quiet and she waits. And after that, she's like, are you sure I do not understand? I said, no, I didn't. He said, okay, now listen and listen to me very well. Because these are questions she used when she wanted to catch my attention. And immediately when she said, listen and listen to me very well, I would be like, okay, I am here.
That's commanding your attention.
Exactly. And when she did, of course, I opened wide my ears.
Yes, yeah.
And she started the story again. I said, okay, yeah, I can hear that guy suffered almost to death. Because,
Exactly.
the king putting you in prison, and then they want to kill you, and that story. So you want me to be like that,
And
man?
you're innocent. Because
Exactly,
when you look
yes,
at that
because
boy,
I
he
had
was
a lot
innocent.
of innocence in
Yeah,
it.
yes.
So I was like, okay, well, me, I'm not innocent because I'm complaining. But still, it doesn't make sense. I don't have to, to suffer. I don't have to carry all these burdens of, carrying people's things on my head. Because I have mine as mine. Maybe I can step in for parents, but not even my siblings.
Yes.
And my daddy said, anyway, from today, you should know that you are very, very different. You're a different child, and get to know. That's why he had ever told me a story of not knowing any other, child's date and hour when they were born. Then he repeated that again, and he said, do you remember that I told you that we know when you were born, the date, the day, the time, the minutes, and the month? And not any other child that we do know all those kind of things. I said, yeah, but yes, okay. I think you know that because you people had lost someone who was missing, and later on he showed up. So that is something you cannot forget. She said no.
They
That
have
is
a reference.
Exactly. And my mother said no, that's not the reason. Yes, he appeared. It was an addition of what God had prepared for us not to forget or to look at you as a blessed child. For you to be born, all those things, 777, does not mean that guy had to, show up.
On
but it was an
day.
addition, yeah. So don't think that's why you're blessed, or that's why we remember when you were born because your uncle showed up and she said no. You are a blessed child. And then again, she read me a story of 7.
Yes.
She read me when the Israel people, I think, were on the wall.
They went around, that's the wall of Jericho.
Exactly.
It's called the wall of Jericho, where God says they should walk around that wall 7 times. And on the 7th time, that wall would come down by itself.
Exactly. So she
Yes.
did read like 3 or 2 stories that to do with number 7. And she said, now, here you are. That's why you're called Joseph. There are reasons in this world. This is just the beginning. You are starting. So open wide your ears, listen well, open your heart, and look up to God. You are going to be something that I don't know. That was my mother's statement. You are just starting. So bear with us, because the Bible tells me, that was her, I am quoting her, because the Bible tells me that a child who is blessed fears the parents, listens to them, because we are your first gods on earth before you look for the God that you do not know.
I think you are brought up in a way of, your life basically was built on the Bible. They kind of gave you a script, I can call it. They gave you a script for you to play or to walk in or to almost become, but you didn't relate with the script. Neither did you love it. I think it wasn't appealing to you. They gave you one of the hardest scripts that one actually would go out there and almost embrace to become part. But then looking through that book, indeed, you have almost become a Joseph, by the way. Because from what was said then and what your life has been from that time to now, you have initially walked the walk of Joseph. Although you may not have suffered what he suffered, you have had your own share.
Yeah.
You have walked your own journey, your own path. But it's very interesting that actually parents can look beyond and they almost foresee somebody's destiny, hence shaping it, and you almost become it.
Exactly.
So how, from that time until now, how have you embraced? Now, have you embraced that story?
Oh, yes.
Do you look back and say, you know what,
Oh,
I'm
yes.
grateful
Yes.
I happened to walk through the footsteps of almost this young man, or you regret it?
No, I don't. I first regretted at that young age. And of course, yes, I think I had not understood. But unfortunately, what actually hurts me most is that I started appreciating and embracing the whole thing after my mother died. That is the emotional part of it. That I always look at myself and I'm like, oh, I wish this lady was around. I wish she was around for me to thank her. I wish she was around for me to honor her in a way. I wish she was around for me, to revenge in a good way.
Yeah.
But all in all, like you told me, sometime back you told me the dead are not dead.
They are not.
And I believe if the dead are not dead, yes, my mother out there is appreciating what I'm doing.
There's a small one.
I would want to appreciate her in her absence, that she has made it for me, and I have appreciated the way she brought me in this life.
Moving on from being a Joseph, from being the very expectation that your mom saw you become and your dad, your mom has more things she shared with you, and one would be very interesting. One would be actually very interested, although it would be very interesting on the other side. You go on to talk about you sharing secrets with your mom. You shared secrets, like this woman thought you can become her safe. You are her safe place, her safe box if need be. And she shared stories with you. What did your mom talk to you about? What did she share with you? And why? Why did she think she would share those secrets with you?
Yeah, I actually started wondering by the time she started sharing stories with me, and I would always, wonder, and I'm like, I would even beat myself, and I'm like, oh gosh, this woman, why? She has sisters, she had sister-in-laws, yet because she was married a little bit far off from her family.
Home, yeah.
But at least she could even look for friends.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Her age mates.
Exactly. Why really pile me with those kind of heavy stuff to the extent that I one time thought I would not even get married because I was now a grown-up girl who had started, thinking about having a relationship, a husband, and then, look for my own family. I think I was 20-something, 23, 22 there. So I was like, really, will I ever get married? So, in other words, I was looking at all men.
In the picture she gave you.
Exactly. And I was like, oh my goodness, this woman doesn't want me to get married. But yes, I did not like it. One time I asked her and she said, no, I am telling you this not because I hate you. I am sharing with this because I love you. And like I have always told you, I might not be around in future. And I don't want you to go wandering, looking for people that could answer these questions.
Get lost.
So you are old enough. You can get married and have children. You can have a husband in your life.
Yes.
You can have in-laws.
Yes.
So excuse me, listen to me. So whenever she told me this kind of, her not being, alive in future, I look at her and I'm like, one time I was sharing with my daughters here, and I told them, girls, these are these questions I'm telling you. My mother told me the same questions, and she's no longer alive.
Exactly.
But they actually gave me, they guided me step by step, and here I am. And I have not shared with anything. I have not, looked for an advice from any woman. These are the things that she told me that are still guiding me in life.
Yes.
They guided me when I got a husband. They guided me when I got you guys who are still young. They are still guiding me when I don't even have a shoulder to lean on.
Yes.
And when I said, the little one said, fire. When I said, I might not be alive in future, she said, fire, mommy. I said, no, don't fire it because this is nature.
But
and it's life, people are there to die. So you guys are old enough to know that people die, people are born, people can die, people can live as long as the time that God wants you to be in this world, but there's time that you will die. You will no longer be there. So I told her, don't fire, because you do not know what you are firing. What you can pray is pray that I have life, but don't fire. So I also fired, though I didn't have a word to use like fire, because fire is for this.com.
Oh yes.
But so inside me, I said, look at her. Why does she think she can die? I can die first before she dies. But I did not say that, long time ago, I would call it long time. We used it to fear even our parents, like their words, you could not tell them. If she has told you that, then that's it. So I would not tell her, excuse me, don't you think I can die before you? So, but I said it in my heart and I kept quiet. So she said, yeah, I can see you want to tell me something, but hold it there and listen to me. I am sharing these secrets so that they can guide you in future. And oh yes, they did guide me, because if I think this lady did not tell me, I would not have maneuvered. I would not have went through what I went through, up to now, what I am going through. I think I was going to break down. But the secrets that I shared with her, I was not the person who she was supposed to share that secrets with me, because the secrets were for a big woman that she could go and talk to a mother. Sometimes she could tell me as if she needs advice from me, and I didn't have anything to advise. But one time I advised her something, and she said, oh, she made a proverb or a saying that I would not forget in my life. And she first cried, then later on she said, abanyankore ne batwe mfumu ngwihano rubuza urarirebire turubuza mukuru. Meaning, I don't know how I can call ihano
rubuzo. Ihano is a tragedy.
Exactly.
So they say you cannot so ihano rubuzo mukuru or
rubuza torubuza mukuru.
So you cannot ask a tragedy from an old person.
Exactly. Yeah.
But rather the one who has gone through that tragedy.
Exactly.
Yes.
And she said, oh, here you are telling me such. And I said, yeah. Indeed, it was a heavy advice from a daughter to a mother.
Exactly.
But she took it. So, yeah, the secrets were a little tough. And this is a moment that is hard for me,
to talk about.
To start. But I think I can share some of them for the sake of our
audience. Yes.
Before she started sharing with me these secrets, she reminded me of a statement she made when we were like 15, or because by that time I was like in senior 2 or senior 3. And she reminded me a statement she made when our father came from where he was coming from, what I would not actually, tremble or feel ashamed of sharing it, because all people do these things. Our father had a concubine.
A concubine.
Exactly. And he always, left us at home and, be there for some days, and we at home missing him, missing some stuff around. So whenever he would be arriving and we hear a sound of something that took him, we would take off. So she's going to do like this, no one is there. Of course, she knows we are hiding because he has come. So she gets up, she goes and welcome him, carry whatever that is from his hands, give him water, give him what to feed on and stuff like that.
That is your father returning home to your mother.
Yes.
From a concubine's house.
Exactly. And yes, later on we would come after the anger is now come, and she would be like, where are you coming from? I'm like, no, we have to keep peace. Because would you be happy when you see us fighting this man? And she's like, shut up, fighting this man. How dare you call him a man? Because like how children can be, all over the place, and sometimes would not be even know what we are talking about. And she said, shut up, that is your father. How dare you call him a man? Actually, it is my elder sister who called him a man. And I said, mommy, daddy sometimes annoys us, so this anger is fresh. We do not want to, to fight with him. A fight that we will regret for the rest of our lives.
Were you angry because, sorry to cut short, were you angry because your father treated your mother the way he treated him, or were you angry because actually your father was never there for you? Why were you angry? Why were you angry that the extent that you can hide from your own father?
Oh, it was a mixture of a lot of things. At 15, 16, you already have jealousy of something you don't even understand.
Exactly.
For heaven's sake, this one is your father. How do you start having jealousy for what? But nature is horrible.
It is.
I would call that, because even at that early age or young age, how to, have that kind of...
You still have feelings, you feel.
Exactly. And for a girl, it's terrible. Girls know how to, feel for their mothers like
exactly.
nothing.
It's like an instinct together, together within them. Yeah. Yes.
So our mother wasn't happy, and he's like, that is your father, for heaven's sake. And you girls, excuse me, actually pulled me and my elder sister, put us aside. Of course, the boys took off. And he said, you are getting married. And he said, she actually told us, in our culture, you guys would have gone, because my sister, they were already, men were already looking for
approaching her.
Yeah, approaching the family to take the girl. She was like 17, 18. But in our culture, it's so funny that by the time you get breasts and, you start getting hips. Some hips, the beauty is coming, or men have started coming.
You're already a woman.
Those who do not, exactly. Yes. Those who do not believe in education, you're already a woman.
Yes.
So my sister, men had started approaching the parents to take her. So she said, you'd have actually gone, telling my sister. So you are already women. So in future, you're going to have your own husband. Excuse me, this is my husband. He is your father, for heaven's sake. So she reminded me of the statements she made. I said, yeah. And she said, you see, things that I share with you are things that you're going to go through. And you know, there is this saying whereby people say, I don't know whether people or where they bring it from or where it comes from, I can't tell, that most especially girls get husbands like fathers.
I've heard that before, but it's very confusing actually.
Yeah,
I don't know why indeed girls end up marrying their father kind of imagery. So going forward, and then of course, as you're saying, your mother said you end up marrying a man.
A man like my father.
Like your father.
Yeah.
How did you feel, given that you didn't actually like your father as a person?
I actually loved my father so much, but I didn't like what he was
What
doing.
he does.
Yeah. But for him as a person, I loved him. But what he was doing at that time wasn't right. So it made me, a little bit go off on the track. But my father is my friend up to now. He's a very beautiful father. Inside, he has a good heart. But, he's
what
a man.
He does.
Because that's what men do. That's why I was telling you, I don't feel ashamed of saying my father had a concubine. I mean, presidents have concubines, kings have. We can look at King Solomon.
It all came from the Bible. A man who has a concubine. Let us be honest, our dear viewers and audience. How many of you women and young women who are aspiring to get into marriage, I'm one of them, behold, you're not alone. How many of you would love to share your man with another man? As a possible, impossible. Tekisoboka bana twogeza amazima. Tubeera abamazima n'omanya nti bbaawo abadde wabweru. Alina omukazi omulala gw'omanyi n'erinnya. In your book, you said that your mother used to cook tea for this woman.
Yes, that's where I was coming.
Who can do that? A concubine comes in your own home, marital home, and you get up and you prepare tea for her.
Oh, yes.
And you serve
sit
her.
With her and serve her.
Without giving her
And
poison.
you actually talk to her, preach to her.
Your mother was not, I think, one of us.
Yes, and
she must have fallen from
like
heaven.
Somewhere sleeping, or maybe outside in the banana plantation, in the cows, somewhere this lady comes to visit. Of course, our father is not there, and my mother. And actually, that made me almost hate my mother too. One time I looked at her and said, you know what, in my heart, this woman is bewitched. Yes, because I could not tell her as a mother because I respected her. There's that respect that we used to give to our parents, the children of that time. I would not, but I thought she was bewitched. But I have just known, I actually known some time back when I was still married, that everything is possible. The first day I saw my mother cooking, preparing tea, she's a co-wife, right?
Co-wife,
Is
yes.
that how they call them?
Yes.
But just imagine that kind of person comes in your house, prepares.
With the guts of even coming to your house.
Yes.
How dare you?
Because they know you. They know what kind of person they are going to see. They know their heart. Namara, there is no how I can tell. My mother was beautiful, sweetheart. No one can fit in her shoes. No one. And one time when she had already died, where of course I will come to that story, the husband failed to give a speech. And this is a man who is actually a very good speaker. But he failed, and he said he was actually calling her an animal in my language. In other words, he never believed that was coffin, this body is going to be buried. He wasn't believing what was going through. But the only thing he could, speak, and everyone was like, we're like, really? Can this person at least say what? Doesn't he have what to talk about this? Everyone was like, the people who knew that my father is a good speaker really wondered, and they were like, what is going on? Because he kept on referring to a coffin, to an animal.
In a coffin.
Mbwenu nyoni ngamba kiti naferwa mukazi naferwa munywani wanje naferwa munyanyazi. In other words, he never said that the one lying there is not a wife. He said he lost a friend and a sister. Now
that is interesting, because I wonder why we celebrate people when they are dead.
That's what
it's
actually
very,
in my book I talk about that.
It's very uncalled for. That is what I would think. Because looking at your mom's story, she definitely was a woman who built her home, like we were saying. She did everything possible to be a wife, to be a mother. Behold, even when it was hard, she made it look simple. That's how she brings up women like you, ladies like you. That's how she brings up girls who are so mindful of what they do. Now, looking back, I could almost assume or actually conclude on the matter that you have become who you are because of what your mother installed in you, because of the foundation she laid for you. But as we are coming almost towards the end, we want you to give, like, could you kindly or briefly share with the audience, I mean, how the secrets you shared built you to date, even through everything that you've gone through?
Yeah, the first thing she told me is that after she told me that I always remind you of the husband being my father, and of course the other one being her husband, so we should not, start fuming and having jealousy towards our father. She said, in future, you will get married. And I want you to know that men are like something, anyway, I'll have to say it because I caught him. I caught her. I don't want people to start attacking me.
That's saying you say that.
They attacked me when I said most of the women, of course not all of them, are slave queens. And yes, people don't want to take the reality, but the reality is bitter, but it is. You cannot
bitter
change
truth.
it. Exactly. But my mother said, men are like dogs. I was like, oh, mommy. And indeed, that's how she said, oh yes. I said, really? So our father is a dog? Your father is a dog as well?
His son, her sons are dogs.
And then our brothers are dogs as well.
Exactly.
She said, yes.
Hi.
I didn't say they are dogs, but they are like dogs. And I said,
very hard.
Mommy, how? Really? Because, in our culture, in African culture, we don't value dogs like the whites do.
Yeah, the Europeans.
Exactly.
They love dogs.
Yes,
Dogs actually
so
family.
much.
Pets are family.
Exactly.
Yeah, they treat it like human beings.
Yeah. So if my mother was coming from that side, really I would say, okay, well,
she would be guilty.
Exactly. And I would not
Yeah.
But I said, this is an African woman, for heaven's sake. How does she, in my heart, how dare is she? She calls all men dogs. So even those that are going to marry us are dogs. And she kept looking at me because I had a lot of questions in my heart. She said, yeah, even if you ask yourself a lot of questions, you may fear to ask me, but men are like dogs. I said, okay, go on and tell me how. She said, yeah, that's what I was waiting for. That's what a wise girl would ask. But don't feel intimidated and then think I have abused people and then you take it like that. Ask. I said, okay, well, mommy, go ahead and explain to me. How could they be dogs? She said, no, I didn't say they are dogs, but they are like dogs. I said, but yes, it's the same. She said, no, it's not the same. Maybe if you do not understand well the language I'm using. I said, well, go on and tell me. So she there is an analogy that she used that made me, understand what she meant. We had a dog called Snap. And she said, Snap ejo no jireba. I was like, oh yes. Meaning, do you see that dog?
That dog, yes, yeah.
And I said, yes. When we had a young brother who loved that dog. And she said, when your father is not here and your brother, this dog will disappear. And anyway, that was true. So we used not to know where it has gone. But later on, we would find out the Snap would be neighbors because the love was, out of the home that it thought was a home. So, and when Robert would come back, maybe Dad is not there, but Robert is around, that dog will come. Immediately, you would not even know how the dog has got to know that someone who is in love with it has come. And I said, okay, so go on. And he said, yeah, that's why I'm saying men are like dogs. Once you show them love, you show them care, you show them that sympathy, that forgiving her, that everything is when they will embrace you. Once you say, hey, they will take off.
Snap will go.
Exactly. So in other words, indeed, when Robert and my father would go away, the snap will disappear. It will take off like how the men took off. Like, I'm quoting her.
Exactly.
And when they would come, the
come
snap
back.
would come and feel loved and cared for. You find it climbing someone and stuff. They go, it takes off. They come, it comes back. I said, okay. She said, yeah. Now, that's why I am saying they are like dogs. And she actually told me something, though I do not love pets anyway. Sorry for the viewers out there who love pets. You will excuse me because I am honest with myself and the viewers who are watching.
Yes.
I don't love pets, but it's not my fault. I think everyone have what they love. But she said, you see those dogs there, they are very important and they are friendly. A dog cannot betray you, but a human being can. So don't think that dog out there is useless like you think. That's why you felt like when I said your father is good, or your father, your brothers, or your grandfathers are like that, and you thought I abused them. But that dog there is very important in our lives. That's why they are so friendly. If you love it, it knows you love it. If you are an enemy, oh,
The dog will go.
exactly. So,
Wow.
and she told me that's how men they are. And I was like, So she said, these things of you treating your father like this, all men do that. It will be, a fortunate part of it, or a blessing, or a luck for a woman who owns a man in life, and this is your man. That's it. It could be like 0% or 1%. That's how that woman was so unique in her life, that it helped her to move on with life as smooth as it was, and it gave her peace.
Even when it was hard.
Exactly. So she told me, all men do that. Your father is doing it. A president can do it. A king can do it. She even said, maybe even these priests in church do it. Very few of them that do it.
Because they're all men.
Exactly, because they are in that bracket. So, in future, if you get a husband, and they happen to, if I was running away from your husband, from your father, my husband, I would not have given more than 1-2 children in this home. But it is, you thank God that I'm still here for you, because I know all men are the same.
In other words, I can't leave one and then knowing I'm going to meet another one who is just like the same. So it's like running from one misery into another misery. In the layman's language, which is English, they say it's like jumping out of the pan and you fall into the fire. I mean, come on now, you would have stayed in the pan. The fire could be even more hot. Exactly. Now, on that note, our dear viewers, time is on our case.
That was actually a key to the secrets.
Wow.
That's what she started with, because she was preparing me for the secrets, because she didn't know I had started, freaking out, being nervous and stuff. So she had to prepare me by,
for
opening
what
me
was coming up.
Behold, listen, things are still coming.
Yeah.
But this is an opener.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what can I say? What can you add on such a story? You cannot add anything other than just listening and following. Now, our dear viewers, as you have heard, time is not on our side. But behold, we're still here. We are still on the voice of hope. We are coming back. Bana tukoma okana tugenda chimayiza kino. Tugenda kutuuka kino we kiggwera. Tugenda kumanya kino ekintu kyagwa kitya. Tujja kutegeera, tujja kuwulira advice. We are going to ask advice from Madame Phionah. We are going to ask her for her own perspective on the issue, on the matter. Behold, from her mother's understanding and the generation we are living in, because it's so different as it is. We are different. We are .com people. We have .com marriages, .com relationships. Some of us, we are into relationships for material things and no love, tele-love. Some of us, hi, we go because of Range Rovers. You meet a guy, you ask him, you have a house, you have a car, what is, do you have a fridge? We don't want hard life. Want easy things, and I'm one of them. And I got to kuona wanaona itali you. Na ye. Owangu yagadde oyagala osigala iyo baganda bange tugenda kufumba. Twagala tetwagala. Tugenda kufuna love. Now coming back here, we are going to come back and ask Madam Phionah. But follow us. Follow the links. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We're all there. We are going to come back next time. We are going to be asking Madam Phionah the very, very, very personal questions besides her mother's advice. We are going to be asking Madam Phionah what advice would she give to women now, not in the other ancient. What advice would she give to young women? What advice would she give to somebody who has a concubine? Hi, atejebari. Basire queen mwagala te mwagala. The truth is there. We have guys who say they have side cheek. Over side, over right cheek, over left cheek. Simai, never cheek si jebari. No sango muntu mufumbo. Na ina cheek
like it
si.
or not.
Exactly. Now we are going to come and ask Madam Phionah, what advice do you give such a woman who has a side cheek as her co-wife or a concubine? Amanya bagakyusa ulira kate dabeitanga mbuwa concubines. The concubines is ancient. Those were the Solomon times. Katwina ba side cheek, left cheek, right cheek, brownie mama, baby mama, Jesus. Kwega mukama walatutasa kyetuli mukika. Naye behold twina abakyala bano batambudde bayina bawulidde ebyedda abakazi bedda no bafumba. Simanyi banaye kyaba basigalayo. Mama baffe nga bafumba. Naye ebintu bye bitabukidde bitulemye. Ebintu bizibuzibu. Naye tujja kukomaawo ne Madam Phionah atuwe advice ye okuva gy'avudde ne mama we bye yamugamba. Would like to know, to compare and contrast these notes and see how we can stay in marriage, we can stay in relationships. Behold, until next time, our dear viewers, as you have followed, please keep following us on every platform. We are there, and indeed there are even lines to call. If you want to talk to us, we will definitely get to you, because we can do this together. We are a team. At the Voice of Hope, we love you. Take care, and may the God who keeps and preserves, indeed with no pay, keep you and preserve you. Until then, shalom, shalom. Madam Phionah, thank you so much, and yes, we wait to hear from you again. May the good Lord bless you. Thank you all.
Let your hope, not your heart, shape your future. Gone are the days when women had no voice. Thrice I fell, voice of hope.